Hello guys, welcome to our channel. Some time ago we talked about using cone gardens to plant crops so that will maximize space, and so that utilizes vertical space rather than the horizontal. And someone asked me a question: if I don't have taupulin for this cone garden, what else can I use? And I said you can actually do sacks. You can actually use your sacks to create cone gardens, and that is what we are actually going to demonstrate in this video. We have two types of cone garden: the triangular ones that has a triangular base, you build it up, and the circular one that has a circular base, and of course you build up. You can see that both of them, they are at the same level. This is what we are going to demonstrate today. There is a whole lot you are going to gain from this video. Don't touch that die. All right guys, we're about to start. So these are my sacks, and you see the length of this sack is as small as that. So I have to cut one full sack into 3 places, and as you can see, it is hollow. All right, so, and that is what we are going to use to construct this triangular cone garden, or you can call it a pyramidal garden, because this one is no longer a cone. All right, now you can see that I use that particular straight wood, so that's to ensure that I get my straight line, because I'm going to construct a triangle that is having equal sides. They call it the isosceles triangle. All right, I have to level the soil very well, and I also discovered that I needed to fill in some spaces, some places that were hollow. This is very, very important, because you need to create a firm base, not something that is undulating. It should be level, equally leveled, because that is going to be the foundation of everything that you are going to build. So it is time to start. It's just to make sure I've already measured that particular wood that you are seeing on the ground, and I've assessed that it can take my sacks on that straight line. So one thing you must understand is that you must have a particular sense of metric measurement, so that you get something that is relatively fine and equal in all sides. Now I'm filling in with soil. If you observe, it's not just pure soil. I have actually mixed my soil with organic manure, and I've also mixed with sawdust. That's why you are seeing that color. Then something else: if you are filling a hollow sack, you must be very, very careful. You have to put in enough soil before you start adjusting, because if you just put in the first 1 or 2 shovels of soil and you want to adjust, it will just pull off. You need something that will fill it to an extent, so that when you are adjusting, it doesn't just pull off. That's one thing that you must know, because if you don't know that, it can be very, very frustrating. And you saw the way I adjusted that particular sack, that first sack. The reason is because you want to make sure that it is straight. And again, there is something else I'm ensuring, to make sure that all sides of the sack, they are well aligned, and there is no space in between the 2 sacks. So that will help you, because that's going to form the foundation of everything later. So as you can see, we've gotten our first line of the triangle, and we are having about 7 sacks. Actually, the triangle that we are building is the 7, 5, 3, 1 triangle. Now you understand what that means later. So we have already done the first level, as you can see, there is a space behind. I have not covered that because this whole space in between the triangle will be filled with soil mixed with manure and all that. I left that space so that I can always bring in my wheelbarrow. It will be easy for me to bring in my wheelbarrow to pour the soil that I'm going to use to fill that space. That is exactly what I'm trying to show here. Forgive me, my cameraman wasn't around, so my camera person wasn't around. So I was just doing everything by myself. So I'm sure I did well. So you have to level. Now what I'm doing now, I've already covered that bar because I've filled in everything I need to fill. What I'm just doing is to mix the poultry manure with the soil that I put in there very well. The reason for this is because this space is going to form the base for the next layer, and all the roots of the crops that you are going to plant, in this case yam, you can plant other things, all the roots will definitely go into this soil, and this soil has to be has to be well nourished for the crop that you are going to plant in that layer to do well. So you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to level so that it will be firm to a large extent. Now, even though I don't want to make it so compact, there is still need to try as much as possible to do some form of compression. As you can see in the video, I'm trying to compress so that at least it doesn't just depress when it starts to carry the load that is coming. But again, you also need that particular level to be as porous as possible so that the roots will be able to breathe, and if you have tubers of yams from that level, it will penetrate. Now we've already done this. We've done the second layer. The same thing we did for the first layer is what we are doing for the second layer. It's the same basic principle, but in this case now we use 5 sacks because the lower one was 7, 5. Now we are using 3, so that's why I called it the 7, 5, 3, then 1. This is exactly what we have done. So can't you see how beautiful it is? Then again, another thing I want you to understand is that as you go higher, you can actually choose to use sawdust without soil. You can just mix more sawdust because you want the soil that is in the sacks above to be a bit lighter. So we are looking at it from the side view now. You can see how beautiful it is, one side of the triangle. So like I said earlier, you want a situation whereby you have soil that is porous or light, all right, so that the load will not be much on the lower level. So this is our stuff, and we're about to plant our mini set. All right, so we've arranged our mini set to plant. I'm planting 4 mini sets per sack. Now, interestingly, you can see that it's not just all mini sets. The upper ones, you have seed yam that will give us large tubers. Now, the essence of doing it this way is because the upper sacks, they have depth that can accommodate any growing tuber. Because it is hollow under, it can actually penetrate and go down. So I always prefer planting yams, that are big up. And again, there's a particular space I just showed, I just zoom into. Those are unconventional spaces that you didn't really bargain for them, but they came up because everything cannot just be exactly symmetrical. Now, those spaces can actually still take yams. So we have finished planting our yams, and we will be waiting for harvest. Someone once asked me, how are we going to stake this particular triangle? You can see how beautiful it is. I will show that to us in another video, because it is actually the trellis system, but there is a pattern to it. All right, guys, let's move to the next. So guys, we've started constructing this circular shaped cone garden that we are using sacks for. You remember the normal conventional one is to use materials that are reusable, especially taupulin. When you don't have taupulin, this is another option. And the interesting part of this one is that apart from you saving space by utilizing vertical space, and of course you are having them in layers, it helps you to also save sack. And how do you save sack? Now this is what we are using to form our layers. We are going to use this size to get both seed yams, even where yams, because the higher you go, the more depth you have, even with this, and you'll be able to grow where yams. You are going to see that at the end of the day. But how do you achieve that? Of course, we are getting 3 of these from one sack. So I divided this one into 3 to get, of course, 1 of these. So imagine you are having 1 sack, you get 3. So if you're having like 10 sacks, you are going to get 30 from here. So at the end of it all, we're going to count how many we used, and of course we're going to eventually divide by, we get how many trees we have in, so how many sacks we're going to use eventually. So that's what I mean. All right, so the interesting thing is this is only the periphery that you will just put sacks. The middle is to fill with soil. Now, to get a perfect circle like this, because I'm going to get 4 layers, what I just did was to get the diameter, the diameter, or sorry, the radius of this circle. And how I did that was to take the measurement of 1, 2, 3, 4 sacks. When you have filled them, you just take the measurement of, depending on the sack that you are using. When you take the measurement of the 4, since you are going to do 4 layers, that's what will give you the center from which you now build up. So if the sack is measuring like 1 foot, it means your radius will be 5 feet. You just use it to get the round periphery. Arrange your sack, then we'll start laying them in layers. Basically, it's a bit technical, but that's it. Unlike when you are doing a triangular, we have done that before, and we have explained that very well. Now, like you can see, I've not completed the circle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be introducing soil from here using my wheelbarrow. But when I'm done, I'll now eventually lock it up, because it is more convenient if I finish the circle before bringing my soil to be introduced. It will stress me if I'm trying to load it. And let me also let you understand that it's not just you may not be able to do it all alone. You can bring in someone to also help you. Just because of the purpose of this video, I'm just here alone, but at the background I have my staff that will always help me to do the filling. I want you to just know that, so that you wouldn't be scared that it's a lot of work. Generally in sack farming, we all know that the filling the sack is the most laborious part of the business. I'm hoping that one day we'll get machines that will be helping us fill sacks. That is in the future. All right, so we are going to complete the cycle now. But before I go, there's something I want you to understand. Please take note. The secret is to make sure that every sack is well juxtaposed. They are put together. They are tight together, so that there will be no leakage through, because they are not all cemented. Unlike the other cone garden, we use taupulin that is just round. These ones, you are using sack as a picket fence, so to speak, to make sure that you get your cycle. So that's what we are going to do now. So let's go straight to finishing up with this. So guys, you can see the first layer is done. It has formed a perfect circle. All right, we've leveled this place. Take note that here has to be leveled, and the base has to be strong enough because it's going to be, of course, is the foundation for every other layer. All right, now we've started the second layer. We're going to go around, then do same like we did here for the second layer. We'll move to the third layer, then we'll now get to the final place. So let me just pause this video here and quickly do this layer, then we'll get to the next point. Okay guys, we have gotten to the second level now. We have filled the middle just like we did the first level. I counted the number of sacks for the lower level. We have about 21 sacks, and because we got 3 from one sack, automatically what we are having here for the lower level, the number of full sacks like this that we use is actually 7. So that buttresses the fact that this method helps us to maximize the use of sacks. We are using only 7, while here we have 14 of these sacks. 14 so it's almost 5 sacks. So what we have done here now, we have used just 12 sacks to get to this level. Now you are going to understand the importance of this when we count the number of yams that we are going to plant in this particular setup. So we are going to the next level now, and that is the third layer, because we are going to get to layer number 4. So we are going to the third layer now. So I'll start, but I'm going to fast forward the video because it's more like a repetition. But before I get there is something I want to make you to understand. Remember I said that they must always abort themselves so that there will be tight junction, so that there will be no leaking. Something else you should note, when you are arranging this kind of setup, it is important, if you check very well, especially for this, in fact all the layers, you are going to observe something. Look at the way these sacks are positioned to each other. There's an inclination towards the middle, such that you don't allow it to diverge to this place, because with time, when the yams they start forming tubers and they expand, if it is tilted towards this way, it will just can give way. But once you tilt it towards that way, it has a kind of bracing effect. There's something else you can do if you wish to. That's not compulsory, because if you have already tilted the head, the top of the sack, such that you are having a convergence towards the middle, you may not need to brace with rope. But if you still want to brace, that's cool, that's fine. That is, you just take rope and go around and tie. But with this setup, I'm confident that there will be no collapse, because each layer you are having fewer sacks as you are going up, and makes it kind of balanced. There is a kind of dynamics that is involved in that. So that's why you see that the sacks, they are slightly tilted, such that everything is converging towards the middle. It makes sense that way. After all, we called it a cone garden. All right. So I'm going to fill this layer now. We'll count the number of sacks for the third layer, then finally the fourth. Okay, guys, we are here at the last stage of the cone garden using sacks. This is the third level, and what we did is what we have been doing since. So how many sacks do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7. So we are looking at just about a little above 2 sacks, because 1 sack will give you 3. 2 sacks, 6. So this 7. That is 2 plus sack, not up to 3 sacks. So if we are looking at everything, here is about 7. Here is about 5. Here is about 2. So 2 sacks, 5, and so 12 plus we are looking at everything here is about 14 sacks. So this is the last one I'm using to top it. This is last. So I'm going to put this here now and we'll be done. So with this, I would have completed the cone because there's still a middle there. I'm going to put this. So you can see that at the end of it all, I'm not even using up to about 15 sacks. But at the end, we are going to calculate how many seed yams or even big tubers we are going to plant here. And don't go away because we are planting today. You will see. All right. So my wonderful family, as you can see, we have finished the whole of the setup. This is the final stuff. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to be assessing this thing? Well, it's easy for me. I can reach out here. This is it. So you can see that we have 4 layers. First layer, second layer, third layer, then of course the 4th layer. And this was how I got the radius of this circle eventually. So we want to now know how many seed yams or where yams we can get from it. But let me state here, this is a modification of the usual cone garden that we all know. And I'm sure for people who don't have taupulins, you now see that we can use sacks because someone asked me. I decided to create this content because a similar stuff is what I've tried in a previous season and it did work. All right. So you have seen the triangular. This is the circular, and you have also seen me do the square type in a short video. But if there's popular demand, we can make that another video entirely. But by and large, it's the same principle. Now we are going to be planting. Now let me tell you one interesting thing about this layer or raised garden, actually cone garden, so to speak. You can actually plant yams in these upper layers because they have the depth to go down. So if you calculate the depth now, this should be close to 4 feet, from here. So if I plant yam here, it's very, very likely to do well. That is just to let us know. And so another thing you need to also know, there are some spaces in between, not in between sacks, but between layers, This layer and this layer now, of course, this very layer, you can have some spaces that you can just put little things. And apart from yams, you can actually plant other things with yams in this whole setup. You can plant things like vegetables, but whatever you are planting should have a duration that is less than 6 months because yams will mature in 6 months. And once you are harvesting, everything here goes down. That's it. So we are going to be planting now. And at the end, we are going to look at how many yams are we going to really plant in these sacks. I've decided to cut these yam sets. Many of them are mini sets, while some are a little above mini sets, but not up to a set that I will call set really. But interestingly, we might have that opportunity of having yams. I'm very, very sure of that because the seed yams that I'm planting now, this variety, actually they are improved varieties. They're actually improved varieties, and I'm going to just plant only improved varieties here so that at the end of it all, we'll be able to assess how they fed. I will not tell you the variety yet. I'll keep that till the end of the whole season so that at least we'll see it. All right. So what I want to do is that I'm going to be planting about 3 per sack. 3 per sack. You can actually do 4. I want to plant 3 because they're actually big. They are bigger than normal, say some of them. But if I see anyone that is small, I'll probably just make it 4. Because what I've also done, I have fortified in each layers. There are plenty manure that I've incorporated. The good thing about the seeds I'm going to be planting, they've already broken dormancy. Many of them they've sprouted. So in the next 2-3 weeks, everything here will be very, very interesting to look at. Then someone has also asked, how can we stake? How do we stake this kind of stuff? It's very easy. So just stay tuned. I will eventually show us how the staking is done in a subsequent video, not this video actually. So I'm going to fast forward this video now while I plant. I'll see you at the end of the planting because there's a few more things I would like to discuss with you. So guys, I've finished planting. So let's do some little calculations. Here, I have about 130 yams that I've planted, 130. And if you look at the space, it's not much. And if you look at the number of sacks that we use, we've calculated that before, approximately about, so this is 21, that's 7 sacks. This is about, let's say 14, this is 15, that's 5 sacks. Then this is 5, see, 2 sacks, 2 plus 5, 7, 7 plus another 7. We're having about 14 sacks that I use now to plant 130 yams. Now, there are also some areas that are not inside the sack. These spaces, these unconventional places are also planted. So at the end of it all, we are going to see, someone has asked me, how are you going to stake this particular garden, both the triangular base and this circular cone garden? How are you going to stake? So that will be a video for another day. Now, you have seen that this is an opportunity that you can now capitalize on. There will be definitely a part 2 to this. So I want you to stay tuned to us. So guys, thank you so much for staying this far. I am very, very sure you've learned so much today, from how to make the triangular base or pyramidal cone garden, kind of pyramidal shaped garden with sacks, and this circular one. I also want you to understand that there is a part 2 to this video. In fact, to just let you know that this one was done a bit earlier than this one. We haven't started having sprouts from the yams that were planted on top of this one. So I'm very, very sure you want to know how this turns out. And I know you have lots of questions. We want to be treating your questions right now. All right. Someone has asked, how am I going to stake this? Just make sure you subscribe, because you are going to see how we take them step by step by the grace of God. God keeping us healthy and alive. Now, another thing I want you to understand is that you are very important to us. Please help us share our videos. Make sure that every platform you belong to, just share and let people see what we are doing, because the whole essence of this is to make sure that we get food from our backyard with little spaces, because it's not just about yam. Don't think it's about yam. You can just do this. You won't even plant any yam, but you plant other things. With this small space, you can harness as much as you can. Now, another thing I also want you to do for us is this. There's a thank you button down here. And you know, setting up these things, they require a lot of, organization and all that. So I want you to understand that your $1, your £1 is very, very important to us. To those who have been helping us with such, we are very, very grateful. And to those who will do from now, starting from this video, we are also giving you thumbs up. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. So do well to always share our videos. And one more thing, there is a project that is ongoing. You can see that we are talking about these sacks. We've envisaged that there's a problem in the future. This particular sack will pose problem trying to eliminate them after even harvesting. So we have started working on a lot of stuff, especially trying to get organic sacks. And there's an ongoing experiment. Please, I want you to watch this next video that is talking about the organic sacks that we made from banana fibers. We didn't even extract, we just used them directly. And to be honest with you, the results, they are very, very fantastic. The one we are seeing now, we'll soon put them all in a video and publish what we have found. So please watch this video. I want to know what your comments are about this and even the video you are going to watch. Thank you and God bless.